right, Matt, we are indeed back and up and running here for round number 5. Reports of my computer's demise were accurate but exaggerated. And here we are. We've got Dariusz Szylman. I think I said that right. Against Mack Endress here at the 4-0 table. Izzet Prowess versus Jeskai Breach. So two decks are going to share a fair number of cards, but one with a combo finish. Actually, Dariusz has one copy, I believe, of Underworld Breach.
Yeah, these are both Breach decks of sorts. One of them is a dedicated Breach deck with an explicit combo built around that. And then the other one is using it as this like big photo finish in a Prowess deck, where we've even seen this leaning harder on that card, going up to 2 or 3 copies. This one is just kind of an afterthought, but it's one of those things where you can imagine a board state where this is the only card and this is the one-off that can actually let you get across that finish line.
Mm-hmm. All right. So we have Soul-Scar Mage and Jegantha on the right, which makes it appear likely that the display is reversed.
Yeah, we it should be Dariusz on the right and then Mack on the left. So we're going to get that switched around for all of you real quick here. In the meantime, Ragavan died to a lightning bolt. So it's going to be a hyper-aggressive start from the Prowess deck yet, but being on the play is very nice and, getting on the board already here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a grinding station for Mack Endress and no blue mana in play yet, although it is available in hand. But Dariusz, with Soul-Scar Mages, with Lava Darts, can, cast quite a few spells in one turn to really push through damage with a pair of Prowess creatures here. Let's see how much damage actually we're thinking about here.
Yeah, it's hard to tell looking over at Mack's start if this is a sign of weakness or if you are potentially dead next turn to Underworld Breach and a 0-cost artifact, which is all it would take from this position.
All right, Mutagenic Growth in hand for Dariusz. That represents 4 damage with 2 Prowess creatures on the board. But a lot more than that is required, and it's just going to be for 2.
Yeah, pretty hard to count up to 19 here, but okay, light out the stage, providing the fuel to maybe stitch together a big turn after this. So there's Swiftspear, there's Mishra's Bauble. Gonna cycle through that one now, maybe?
No, it's gonna hold it. So, Mack Endress. There is a breach in hand. Are the tools available? The Mack Endress Piloting Act did play this at the last Nerd Rage event a few weeks ago and was maybe a little admittedly under-repped at that point, and there were some execution flaws in a camera match. So let's see if he's got this tightened up now and is able to execute this deck to the fullest of its capabilities.
Yeah, so thinking through this turn carefully, it looks like I think that was Mox Amber, and if there is an Underworld Breach as well, well, that's the ball game right here. The fact that we're not going for that suggests, I think missing the Breach, and so bracing for impact now, just hoping to survive through this turn and then stitch together something after that.
Okay. So Dariusz is going to Bauble himself. And 3 Prowess triggers on the board. Are there tools? Did that Bauble, was that an upkeep Bauble?
I might have missed the timing there. So
yeah, I'm not.
This looks like a pretty tame attack, actually.
Yeah.
Unless maybe there's some math being done before damage, or I guess, okay, so we're going to try and intercept one of these Prowess creatures with the Contract of Urza Saga, and then if Dariusz can swat that out of the way and then maybe add up some more damage on top of that, then we could be looking at lethal, although it would have to be pretty impressive.
Right, I think the hand is double Mutagenic Growth. So a single block here, Mack at 14. Each mutagenic growth is still effectively worth 4.
Yeah, so
that's 10.
Yeah, we count to 10, but then I don't think we can deal the last 4.
What? Is the prowess at 3? Was there a spell played beforehand? Maybe there was.
So that would still leave us too short, right?
Mm-hmm. All right, it is enough to pick off the construct. And yeah, there was a spell played before. So is that a different Bauble?
Okay, it looks like Mack does in fact have Underworld Breach, maybe thinking that he didn't have the resources to go for a deterministic kill last turn. So you can get the combo going. You can start running through the deck until you hit Emry, and then try recasting that and so on. But would be missing the ability to actually win through a removal spell, I think is the issue there. So against Prowess, Lightning Bolt, Lava Dart, both would do the job. So Matt calculating that if you can survive that removal spell anyway, like if that would be removing a blocker, then waiting would make sense. And looks like he's getting paid off for that decision in this case.
All right, Springleaf Drum is found off the saga with a mana floating. Dariusz, not tapped out, but no cards in hand. I'm sorry, Jegantha in hand, maybe?
Looks like it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Jegantha in hand. Okay.
A missed opportunity again to mill a construct, or to mill by sacrificing a construct to the grinding station. Not going to matter here. I think we're going to have the resources to go off regardless, but just tight technical play to be aware of.
Okay. Well, all the required ingredients are now here. Here is a Bauble that gets eaten by the grinding station, and now we appear to be on our way.
Some discussion of a missed Bauble trigger as well. So potentially all the difference here, if that would have been the Lava Dart or the Lightning Bolt that can deal the last few points of damage.
Yeah, I thought so too. And maybe because it seemed like a curious time for the Bauble to activate in the first place, which may have contributed to if it was missed. But we are now looping through. I think this is the first time today we've actually seen this potentially going all the way through with Mox, Grinding Station, and Breach.
Previously, it was a lot of kind of hand waving and gesturing back and forth, and then both players scooping up their cards. Nice to actually see someone going through the motions on camera, although hopefully just the once. It gets a little repetitive otherwise.
Okay, chat suggesting what actually may have happened there was the Bauble, and this would explain that other prowess trigger. The Bauble was played from the life of stage the next turn, and so it was played during the Dariusz's last combat turn. So yeah, the draw was missed on Mack's upkeep, not on Dariusz's upkeep, but either way, Mack Endress does execute the combo and is now up a game. So, sorry, that was a little messy there as far as Dominic and I being able to correctly keep track of what actually happened for a moment there. But Mack Endress is up a game, comboing out. So, holding out hopes for a championship invite. He's got a little bit of work to do. Dariusz Szylman is the player that's currently ahead of him, not having a good day. So, the door is open. Anyway, let's look at some sideboards.
Yeah, so from Mack's side, we have a Fury, which I think is a nice addition here. We got a Prismatic Ending.
Well, let's go with we're looking at Dariusz Szylman's list right now, so let's go with that first.
Yeah, let's start there. So, again, we come back to the classic Breach dilemma of, in theory, a lot of these cards have some kind of application, but especially in a Prowess deck, a lot of the time you need all of your cards to contribute towards dealing damage or adding Prowess triggers when you need them to do that. And so a reactive card like Spell Pierce can potentially be very strong, but also often will just be like the worst card in your hand or the worst draw in your deck at the same time. Likewise, Shattering Spree, right? You're against a deck with a bunch of, Saga tokens and Shadow Spear, stuff like that. Shattering Spree is the ideal response to that, and then often just literally a dead card in other situations. So not sure how much Dariusz is going to want to slant the deck towards dealing with some of those kind of corner case scenarios.
I mean, Ross did talk about, one of the weaknesses of the deck is just the opponent's going fast. So
yeah,
if you don't have like premium interaction, maybe you just basically run back the same 60 and just try and get Mac dead before he gets a chance. And that almost happened this last game. It was close.
Yeah, and Shylman's list is optimized for going fast. You see some lists of Prowess moving towards stuff like the new third path Iconoclast, as your 2-drop of choice, which lets you play a grindier game, but is worse if you're just trying to get them dead. And with Sprite Dragon, full Mutagenic Growth, some of these choices are built with just getting them dead firmly in mind.
All right, so let's go to Mack Endress's Jeskai Breach deck, which is probably not similar at all from the ones we saw this morning. And looking for ways to hold off the incoming Prowess creatures. Fury sounds good. Explosive sounds good. Prismatic Ending, I suppose. And really, you just want things that can kill things, right? That's all we're worried about.
Just removal. Just stave off the oncoming hordes and figure it out from there. And so I think 4 removal spells by that count. Explosives, it can be a little clunky, but can also be the one thing that just sweeps out 3 creatures at the same time. So a little polarized in that sense, but definitely worth the risk there, I think.
Okay. Well, if the players are ready, we can head back down to the table.
Another nice thing about explosives, if it comes to that, is it can be that 0-cost artifact that you need to start cycling through the breach and grounding station combo, which comes up sometimes in matchups where you want to de-emphasize Mox Amber, because that's a card which relies on you having some other game piece in order to do anything at all. And so sometimes in those matchups, explosives lets you have that density of free artifacts that you need without risking drawing, at least one dead Mox Amber, to say nothing of the second copy.
All right, Dariusz Szylman, can we get going earlier? I mean, almost got it done in game number 1. We're looking for 1-drop creatures, burn spells to finish them off. I see burn spells. I'm not sure I see a creature. Certainly there's one there, and we are underway. Round 5, game 2. Thanks for being with us, Nerd Rage Gaming. If you're enjoying the content, hit the follow button. If you want to stick around for the rest of the day, we got Modern. If you're interested in Pioneer and you clicked on this stream by accident, just come back tomorrow. We'll Pioneer all day tomorrow once we decide the Modern Showdown winner. And here we are, Dragon Race Channeler, just to open these up. So excellent start, and it's done. Do we have another creature?
The main deck for Jeskai Breach not actually that heavy on removal or interaction more broadly, and so having that turn 1 Unholy Heat is pretty clutch there. A little more access to that post sideboard, but Unholy Heat showing why it's the kind of default removal spell in Modern at this stage.
Yeah, and I think the turn 2 draw for Dariusz was Mutagenic Growth. That had been a hand that would have saved the Dragon Race Channeler and dramatically changed the opening development of this game. Swiftspear off the top, though, that's good. Dariusz really needs to have a creature attacking, applying pressure, getting damage through, and now that is back on board.
Yeah, hard to make out exactly what's in Shylman's hand at this point, because we're not committing more creatures to the battlefield. I guess we haven't had many chances to use removal to force anything through, or to actually use Mutagenic Growth to save a creature yet, but Dariusz just kind of not really getting up too much at this stage.
So there is a Shredder. Dariusz did have a Bolt in hand. Wise to not fire it off at the end step there, and then waits to untap. This was good play, Dariusz. If he'd gone for that during Mac's end step to conserve a mana, this would have gone very badly for him, as the it would have been saved.
Yeah, I mean, any second spell conniving away another spell would have got that Shredder to 4 toughness, and then it would stick around as a pretty big problem, potentially.
Right. So well navigated there. Well timed. And doesn't have another creature yet, but at least the Swiftspear is still sending in through. but it's got to be painful. You're sitting in that chair as Dariusz, and just the overall damage coming through is just not adding up quickly. And Jegantha into hand. I mean, if Jegantha ends up playing a role, you're probably in pretty bad shape.
It's nice to have that failsafe and to actually have a use for that mana, but if that's your only use, then yeah, never feels good.
I mean, the 15th Sideboard card has to feel pretty free to justify the Jegantha, because they just do not appear very often to matter. Now, this is also not the match. This is not a grindy matchup, really. This is a matchup where you're trying to race, and so not what Jegantha is intended for.
There are certainly the grinding matchups, as people call them, where like you expect to pick up and cast Jegantha over the course of a longer game. This can be one of those. The Breach deck, as we mentioned, it can combo you quickly, it can grind, but grinding is not where you want to be for the most part.
Mm-hmm. All right, Breach was the draw there for Dariusz. Let's see. There's only 5 cards in the graveyard. There is a Lava Dart, which can add a land to the graveyard, I suppose. If there's 2 Mutagenic Growth, is this worth doing? Using up the Breach here just to get the Swiftspear back in play? Dariusz thinks it is, and he might be right. Actually, the choice of creatures there.
Yeah, I mean, so if you cast the Dragon's Rage Channel again, and you're able to get another card in the graveyard, then you can maybe recast the Bauble, and then that's going to keep fueling with the Surveil off the DLC. So you can't keep surfing along that wave, but you can at least do something.
All right, so the choice is Swiftspear. Well, actually, Dariusz may be able to play both of them once the rest of the cards all end up in the graveyard. Is there enough mana for that? There may be one short, but we're certainly going to see some action here.
Yeah, looks like we're going to take this opportunity to just cast as many spells as possible, get a burst of damage in, and then convert that into getting another threat back.
Yeah. Well, I think we've deployed the Breach at this point. I think we kind of have to go all in here. So maybe, the most we could see here is there's the Lava Dart, and then another Mutagenic Growth, and then another Mutagenic Growth is the most that could conceivably happen. It looks like we're going to stop here. All right, I mentioned that as being another Mutagenic Growth in hand. Chat pointing out, and I think they're right, that is not correct. It's actually the Jegantha.
Yeah, the big elf just hanging out over there, which means currently we just really have the Swiftspear as what's going on. And Mac is at the kind of life total where it feels like we can weather that storm.
Yeah, so this was certainly a solid attack, but the lines I was running through are inaccurate, because I thought there was another Mutagenic Growth and there's not. So this is the most damage that I think Dariusz could have done. It is a sizable amount, back down to 7. But now, with full knowledge of his opponent's hand, Mac can sculpt the rest of this game, figure out what he needs to do to survive, and then eventually win.
And Mac hasn't really had to put up much resistance beyond that turn 1 Unholy Heat. He's mostly kind of been spinning his tires since then, and has not been punished for doing so.
All right. Explosives for 1 on the board, providing some protection. All right. Construct in is a 2/2. Dariusz attacked into it. Lava Dart.
So let's see. Do we still have that other Lava Dart? No. So that one was used last turn to maximize damage. So now this one can get that construct out of the way, and then we would get in for 3 damage, which is not nothing, but it's like this Izzet Prowess deck is not full of enough burn spells the way that like actual Boros burn is, for example, to the point where you can expect to burn them out from that low a life total. Like 4 is actually surprisingly safe when it comes down to it.
Yeah. So the Lava Dart goes upstairs, and then the Prowess allows the construct to lose in combat. So Dariusz maintains board presence. But the new construct, as well as the Saga Tutor, is going to mean that it's not going to take 2 prowess triggers to get through. Make that 3 with the Shadow Spear if that equips. And this is looking tough. Although Explosive is now less valuable because the Shadow Spear has entered play.
Yeah, which is almost a nice problem to have if, we now have a 4/4 lifelinking Trampler kind of trumping everything else that's going on the board. But maybe Jegantha will have something to say about that. I don't know. Probably not.
All right, Emry flips no artifacts. But I guess replaying Explosives is not too bad of a consolation prize if it comes to that. And yeah, Mack's still not done. Equips up the construct, and it's looking tough. Even running bolts isn't enough for Dariusz because Mack is looking to gain a bunch of life in the in-between turn. Oh, and there's 1 bolt. 1, 2, 3, 4. This construct looks like it's a 4/4 at the moment. Dariusz head in his hands trying to figure this out. He appears to be a little short of picking this game up here between the bolt and the lava dart. He can obviously just burn Mack down to 2. He could just hit the construct and attack for 3. That looks like it's going to be the choice. Emry blocks. Okay. So that's something.
Oh, interesting. So we'll see what Mack has left over, but blocking with Emry, potentially a sign that he was scared of, I guess, if you Mutagenic Growth would get it done at that point.
Yeah, he shouldn't be afraid because he knows what Dariusz's card is.
Oh, yeah. I mean, okay. So this is, I guess, just kind of chucking that away for no clear gain. If no other reason, you could suit up the Emry with the Shadow Spear and then kind of keep the game in this holding pattern for now.
All right, so here is Mutagenic Growth, which is going to lead to Shadow Spear being sacrificed to Grinding Station, and then the Swiftspear blown up. So resources depleted on both sides, which probably favors Mack, although he looks to just have lands left in hand.
And that Jegantha looking more and more of a remote possibility at this point.
Maybe. I mean, if we can have back those 2 lava darts and actually be able to cast it with only 1 more land. Here's Trans Magistrate. Okay. I mean, it's a body at this point.
It's interesting. The Magistrate card you often see sideboarded in against the dedicated Breach deck. But against Dariusz, I guess it shuts down the 1 Breach, is fine against Expressive Iteration sometimes, and then shuts off Lava Dart, but there's no like clear use for it. It's doing like a little bit of everything, and I think just being a 1/3 blocker is going to be its use case sometimes.
Yeah. And Dariusz is able to cheat around that Trans Magistrate by playing a land off Expressive Iteration there. Here's Ledger Shredder, and Dariusz has picked up another Lightning Bolt. So 1 more, and he can still win this game. And he's got a couple turns to draw it, probably.
Yeah, we've been through at least 1. How many are left in the deck at this stage? Do we know?
I don't know. There's at least 1 gone. I can't remember if there's 1 exiled or not.
We might be looking at a 1-outer, which is always exciting.
Yeah, but it's a 1 hour times multiple card draws. We're not dead next turn. Maybe we have 3 shots at it. Well, there's another iteration. Okay. Yeah, I can't afford to use a bolt first on the Magistrate, but a bolt going to hand would work just fine. Dariusz is going to keep it hidden from us. Here's a Tarn fetching. I don't know. We'll see. We could be onto a game 3 momentarily, although he probably would have shown it by now.
And notably, you can't cast spells from zones other than your hand with Magistrate, but you can play lands if that's what the card allows you to do. So even against iteration, it's not even a reliable hoser enough of the time.
All right, Dariusz, going through the deck a couple times here. Are we okay? There we go. I thought for a second he was failing to find. I think he thought he was for a second too. I'm like, no, that can't be right. It's got to be more. All right, both players maybe a little on edge here, playing for 5-0 on camera, which is understandable. Cantrip Aether Spellbomb here for Mack Endress. Looking for, I mean, any card, any spell will trigger the Connive and get him a little further. That's a Scalding Tarn, and I'm not sure what the other card is.
All right, so here we go.
All right, Bolt deployed. This is even a land would allow Jegantha to come in. Instead, it's going to be a couple creatures.
I think Dariusz just has those white bordered bolts as well, so we can kind of get a sneak preview of what it is.
Well, white border is the correct way to go. Look, yeah. Otherwise, you have these supposedly fancy, alternate bolts or that Mack Endress has. Nobody's interested in those. Come on, just give us cards we can read. Here's iteration into the goods. Second iteration, Connive. Ooh. Breach comes off the top.
And is that just the game right there?
I feel like it could be. So we need, there's a Bauble as well.
Okay, so that just is the whole shebang.
The graveyard is thick. So
it is stacked.
And there's Mox in there. Yeah, we don't have a legendary creature, but that is likely not a hindrance at this point. All right, chat needs to calm down a little bit. There was the Shredder trigger was not missed. It did happen. That is where the Underworld Breach actually was drawn from, and then land was discarded. So that was executed correctly. And now we will wait for Mack Endress to probably kill Dariusz Szylman after a certainly a battle of a match so far.
Yeah, milled 4 because of the Emry coming into play, and then it feels like we are going through the motions at this stage.
Yeah. So if you're unfamiliar with what's happening here, the grinding station sacrifices an artifact and mill 3 cards. The Mox Amber can then be recast, exiling 3 cards, so you net the same number of graveyard, and then a mana is generated because you sacrifice the Mox, or you can tap the Mox for mana in between, and then you build up mana, and then eventually Thassa's Oracle gets milled over, and once your deck is depleted, you can recast Thassa's Oracle. So Mack Endress will take down this match and advance to 5-0 to increase his chances of seeing us in the championship at the end of in the middle of January.
Yeah, so that's the kind of result which will leave other people in that scrum just watching their heels a little bit. Like it's not as secure as some of them might be thinking anymore. So we might have some high stakes matches down the stretch today, and then also tomorrow, depending on how things pan out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Because tomorrow's points do count as well. Only today's event gives the auto invite into the championship, but the points count for today and tomorrow. So we have concluded our primary match in round 5. Okay, backup sounds like it's getting ready to go. So we'll get that rolling. Here we go. All right, we've got Colorless Tron versus Mono White Hammer. Travis Williams versus Amin Abadi.
And Joe,
yes.
We have a luck counter in play.
Ooh, because we have Gemstone Caverns? Now, I'll tell you what. I have long been a fan of Gemstone Caverns.
Oh, I know. Yeah. It's one of those cards which it's so unique and so powerful that it feels like it must be underplayed to some degree, and that there must be other homes that we can put it in. It's just difficult to find exactly what those should be. But there's a Colorless Tron deck or Prison Tron, if you prefer. Definitely a great shot for it. I can now, yeah. No, Joe, are we still live? Can people hear me? Okay, well, welcome back. We are experiencing some technical faults, as you can tell, but I will try to keep the show on the road until we can get a full house back in here. So, in the meantime, we have double Ensnaring Bridge, double Chalice of the Void, and a main deck Stonebrain, all helping to put the hurt on Travis Williams here. And this is the prison aspect of the Prison Tron deck. This is what gives that its name. And basically, the only question left at this stage is, can Amin Abadi deplete his hand to the point where nothing can realistically attack for the rest of the game, barring some strange, it would have to be Sigala's Aid into Hammer, but both of those are shut off by the Chalice on one. So at this stage, I think we are officially in garbage time, except that the actual game may take a lot longer to conclude, depending on Travis's tolerance for sitting there and not being able to do anything. And this is the real test of a commentator, is how do you feel not just a game where literally nothing is happening and that's kind of the point, but also the dead air where one of the commentators' computers has exploded and left me by myself. But it looks like we may have a driller set back with us before too long here. Yes, beautiful. Okay, so you somehow missed everything and nothing at the same time. Well, you commentated over the interesting part, and now nothing is happening, and nothing will happen until we move to another game here. Yeah, I don't know exactly what happened, but it seems like we are back, we are live. People can hear me and or you. Oh, they sure can. Yeah, so okay, so at this stage, I think this is purely a case of Travis seeing if there's anything off the wall in a Bardi's deck. The Prison-Tron deck, not a mainstream archetype, I would say, but not a fringe one either. This is a deck that has had several notable finishes. So Travis, I assume, plugged into where the modern format is going, and so we'll be aware of this, but worth, looking for stuff like Main Deck Stonebrain, any other recent additions from the Brothers War, a very artifact-heavy set, just to get the lay of the land here before we pack it in. And taking a look at Travis's deck list, I was trying to think if there is the Haywire Might Splash and that is main deck instead of sideboard, then could that maybe? But no, there really is no escape from the situation at this point. It's just me.
All right, they're telling me to talk now. All right. Okay.
Now, Joe, given that there is so little to talk about in that game, what I think people want to know is, what is your favorite emoji?
My favorite emoji? This is a trick question. You're setting me up. I probably know. I know there's like a smiley face. There's the frowny face. There's the one where the tongue is sticking out. That's all I know, I think.
But which of those really calls to you?
I don't know. I think I'm of the wrong generation to even have put any thought into this whatsoever. But as far as this round, I'll go with, is there a quizzical one where the guy looks confused? Because that was me this round.
There is the one where it's like scratching the chin with like it's like kind of furrowed brow.
Right.
Which
or maybe the sighing one is just sitting there. Oh, here we go again.
All right, so we will take a short break and hopefully formally address this, and then be back with the broadcasters you know and love it before too long. Take care.
All right, we're back. Hypothetically, this is live coverage of game 3 between Amin Abadi and Travis Williams. Viewers at home may have seen the bulk of this match, even though I believe Dom missed a part of it and I missed a bigger part of it after that. But we are now up and running.
Yeah, hopefully we are back bringing you a full audio-visual experience in which, let's see.
Iman Ibadi has done the Eldrazi Tron dirty thing where they actually just have Tron. Eldrazi map, assembled it together. And now this is an overpowered deck with a lot of mana to play with, including Walking Ballista and Baseless Collar, which is tough to navigate if you're a creature deck.
Yeah, we have assembled our Splinter Twin of sorts in this deck and we even have, we have redundant Tron pieces, we can charge it up, put more counters on it, and so now we can effectively remove creatures on site for as many counters as the Ballista has, and that number is only growing turn after turn. So unless Travis has some way to remove the Ballista or some way to nullify it this turn, I think this game is effectively over.
Yeah, he's got some life total. Maybe he can live long enough to fetch up a Pithing Needle with Urza Saga. Here's an attack. I mean, would a block not be unreasonable here with Ornithopter to just save 5 life? Perhaps not.
It wouldn't. I mean, it wouldn't be unreasonable. I guess I don't know what Travis is really drawing towards at this point either.
But if your opponent's going to give you the opportunity to block, because maybe in the future they won't. Although I guess Travis isn't, going to be down the board next turn anyway. Well, Ballista can do a lot of damage though, because it's basically double power because it can attack and then shoot.
Right. I guess much of Otherworldly Light and the Sideboard Pithing Needle responses to it. So the Saga, in theory, are threatening to produce a needle next turn.
Right.
And a body will be somewhat cognizant of that threat, I imagine.
All right, Paradise Mantle equipped on Ornithopter. Whoa, is this Cauldron Complete coming down? Hardcast?
Okay, well, hey, we're not killing that one anytime soon.
No, we are not. And yeah, this is. I mean, I think this could be called into question here, like letting this Ornithopter.
It could be called into question.
Yeah, exactly. Good. So now Amin can still build up 12 counters and shoot Travis, but things are more difficult.
And there might only be a turn left to do that if there is a needle ready to jump out of the deck.
This colorless Tron deck has some cards in it that I don't see a lot of play, at least lately. Serum Powder. I think, there's I don't even remember the name of the land that just got tapped that can tutor for land and gains life every turn. The legendary land right there.
Oh, Inventor's Fair. KCI special.
Right.
Let's see. So Travis, we had 5 lands, Springleaf Drum. Did we get to 7 to hardcast the Cauldron Complete properly?
Yeah, with the we have 5 there, and then we had Ornithopter with Paradise Mantle, Springleaf Drum. I don't know what creature the Springleaf Drum tapped.
Yeah, because there's only we have 2 drums and a mantle, but only 1 creature. So there may be some double counting, and it looks like Travis is picking up on that or having it pointed out at this stage.
That's a fairly significant
advantage
there to be gained. So yeah, you're right. That has definitely been pointed out by someone, or the players have realized it at this point.
Yeah, that's a difference there between, I guess, a body winning on the spot and maybe winning in a few turns, but taking some more time to do it.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's going to take a judge a moment to figure out if they want to rewind or not. So while we have a moment, I don't know if we got to the deck list yet. So let's go ahead and look at them now, because this will probably take at least a minute to sort out. So here's Amin Abadi's colorless Tron deck, which is, I kind of actually, even in my notes, I wrote down Eldrazi Tron, but this is very much not Eldrazi Tron.
Oh no, there are no Malaview Shapers in sight. Not a Thought Knot there to be seen. This is just full-on colorless Tron. It's a little reminiscent of you think about like the World Prison days, some of these Ensnaring Bridge prison decks we've seen in the past. That whole strategy has really fallen out of favor recently, and this is kind of the last incarnation left of that approach, featuring a real heavy focus on a new card from Brothers War, actually, the Stonebrain. It looks like we have 3 copies in the main deck, 1 in the sideboard. So that's a really nice way to kneecap some of these linear decks which either don't care about Ensnaring Bridge or can bypass it or do something else. And against, there'll be a lot of decks where, your lock pieces, for whatever reason, don't really function properly. So does the opponent care about Chalice of the Void? Well, maybe not. Do they care about Ensnaring Bridge? Again, they can't really guarantee that. And the Stone Brain often can deal with like the one slice of their deck that you do actually care about yourself. Or if you are turtling up behind Ensnaring Bridge, maybe you're just waiting until they draw their answers to it. And if you can preemptively remove those answers, you can lock up the game right there. So you think about like a lot of Murktide decks, they'll have a Brazen Borrower and one Odawara or something. And if you can remove whichever one of those they have, well, then your Ensnaring Bridge is actually untouchable at that point.
Yeah, that's a good place to be in. All right, here we are back to the table. Looks like things have been rewound. The Culture Complete is back in hand. Construct is made to be able to block. Amen's like, I'm not interested in you blocking. I'm going to kill everything. And through for 5. All right, so... And here's a fresh Ballista for some more counters. And Travis Williams is shot down. So Amin Abadi advances to 5-0 with this Colorless Tron deck. Impressive work. I was not expecting that.
What were you expecting exactly?
Well, to start off with, when I was told the backup match was a colorless Tron deck, I was expecting to see Eldrazi creatures. And so when it turned out to be not that, and then we have this Bridge Karn Stonebrain deck that's 5-0. I mean, yeah, that's nowhere close to what I was expecting, to be honest.
It is. Yeah, I mean, if you haven't seen it before, it is a little off the wall. And Eldrazi Tron, it did win, actually, the most recent showcase event on Magic Online. It is the cockroach that will never die. There will always be Eldrazi Tron around in some form or another. But I would say, actually, this is the preeminent form of Tron these days. Well, and if you
slow down a little bit.
Oh, okay. See, I'm sorry, I blasphemy here.
Try again.
Going to leave the stream with that parting shot here, but it is one of the many beautiful and valid forms of Urza Tron that you can play in the modern format.
Okay. All right. I guess we'll still let you come back tomorrow.
And with that, we will turn you all over to break. We will get Becky Bell in here with Joe to finish out the day. That will be it from me. It's been great fun being in the booth today. We'll see you back here tomorrow. But that's me out for now.
All right. Yeah. So Dominic, thanks for being here. He'll be back for the elimination semifinals and finals tomorrow morning on Modern and the first few rounds of Pioneer. Meantime, when we come back from the break for round 6 and for us today, I'll be joined by Becky Bell, and we'll be bringing you Modern for the rest of the evening. Thanks for being here. This is Nerd Rage Gaming. No more technical difficulties. I don't promise, but we hope. We'll be back.